everybody, I'm Colleen Pearl, the Cool Crone. Welcome back to my channel. And for all my new subscribers, thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome. It's really nice for you to join us. Today's video is going to be the mid-March update for elemental readings. I'll do a reading for each element, and then I will break it down for each sign of the element using tarot cards, oracle cards, astro cards, and astro dice. It's a really fun format, and we got a really good response on it the last time we did it, so I'm going to do it again. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed already yet, what's wrong with you? Subscribe already and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming new videos. April is going to be a blockbuster month. We have great stuff coming up for you. You're not going to want to miss it. Now, after your reading, first of all, you should watch the reading for your rising sign, sun, and moon sign. That way you get the most out of the readings. And afterwards, please leave me a comment. Let me know if it was useful or not so that I can do more videos that you'll like. Well, let's get on with the reading. The Fool is actually the card that represents the beginning of Aries, the beginning of the journey. And we are starting mid-March, so it's about 5 days before the sun goes into Aries, and I'm guessing that for you guys, this is a timing card. So when the sun goes into Aries on March 21st, you need to be paying attention to the stuff that's coming up in this reading. So the moon reversed. The moon reversed can very often mean that somebody is trying to put one over on you, that they're trying to trick you, that they're trying to hide things from you, that they're trying to manipulate you. So just be careful about that. You are not the one doing the manipulating, which air signs I know you probably can, but you probably choose not to. But you can, but it's not you. It's most likely, I'm going to guess, a water sign. The Ten of Swords is saying that, something's coming to an end and not a pretty end. That something that you maybe wanted to come to an end is coming to an end, but maybe not the way you wanted it to come to an end. And it's coming to an end on you. Swords are academic, intellectual communication devices. It is not necessarily the physical sword, although some people do think it's the physical sword. Another thing that people are interpreting this card as these days is vaccinations. So it could be very much that you need to take the vaccination in the month of March or very soon, just before the beginning of April, that it's very important for you to take that. And that's going to be really important for you. So if somebody is telling you not to take it, I'm telling you, you probably should take it. Please don't take medical advice from people on YouTube. It's just not a good idea. Now, Prince of Wands reversed. So this would normally be a person who is, has a lot of largesse, is very generous, and is really looking out for everybody's best interest and is bringing messages. But he's reversed, and so he's a blowhard, he's arrogant, he's bragging, he's going over the top, and the messages that he's bringing are maybe not just for you. Maybe they're for his own benefit. And then we have the Ace of Swords. So something I'm going to say more towards April is going to be starting for you, all of you air signs. This is also, swords do represent air signs. And so even the Ten of Swords represents you air signs. So let's hope that this is for vaccinations and not just the ending of something else. Let's hope that this is the ending of your personal COVID trial and lockdown, and that you're finally done with that. And that once you get the vaccine, and there's multiple swords, so yes, you would take the vaccine where you have multiple shots. And once you have that, then your new phase begins and you're able to move on with much less hindrance. Also, this could be the beginning of a new project having to do with communications, with things that the air signs rule. So if in your career you work with words or communications of any kind, this is a really, really good symbol, really good sign. Okay, so that's the general thing for air signs. Now let's get into Gemini and what's really going on for Gemini. So for Gemini, I'm going to pick 3 astro cards. These cards are thick and they're hard to get around. So I have to kind of hold them down so that I don't get 14 cards in one pull. Oh, very nice. Okay, so Gemini Oh, let's do the dice. And then I always forget to do this too. So let's pull out this card as well. Okay. So Gemini, what comes up for you is the 11, Jupiter, Sagittarius. You also get the Sagittarius card, plus 8th house beginnings and endings and 4th house roots. So I'm just going to refer to my, this is Gemini. This is going to be this way. Okay, so your 11th house, Gemini, is Aries, and we have the sign, we have the card for Aries, the Fool, right here. So I do think that something having to do with friends is going to be really important for you in mid-March into mid-April, especially this last week of March when the sun actually goes into Aries. I think the timing of this just keeps hitting it over the head that that's the timing for you. And then we also have Jupiter, which is still in Aquarius, and that's going to be your 9th house. So that's higher learning. That's also a Sagittarian house. So that's really interesting that that's a Sagittarian house, and then you have emphasis there with Sagittarius because you do have the Sagittarius dice here. So there's a lot of emphasis for that for you, and that's going to be your, oh no, I'm sorry, it's your 8th house. So, okay, let's rewind a little bit. Sagittarius. This is your 8th house. And then you got the card for the 8th house. So the Fool is searching for something. He's going on a quest, right? Your quest has to do with looking into maybe things having to do with the occult, maybe things having to do with death, sex, or taxes, which is the 8th house as well. Things that have to do with maybe the beginning and ending of life. Now, the 4th house, I think, is the beginning and ending of life. They're calling it roots, but the 4th house represents the home when you were born. It also represents the home when you end your life, when you transition. And then you've got Jupiter, which is in Aquarius, which is actually your 9th house. You're learning, you're seeking other ways to learn. You're going out into the world. Hopefully, you're going out into the world once you get your vaccine, and it's possible for you to go out safely into the world, and then you can start this new quest, project, communique, whatever it is. And that's what I'm really hoping for you. Where was this, Sagittarius? That's what I'm really hoping for you, Gemini, because you do love to learn, and you probably love to travel too. And that's probably been a real bummer for this whole, it hasn't been a total lockdown everywhere in the United States, but it's been a lot of people just kind of doing a lockdown anyway, just so that they don't take any risks. And so I think that this will be the beginning of you stepping out and trying to continue with learning new things. Maybe it's even you taking on a new hobby of some kind. And I'm thinking that for most people who are watching this channel, that hobby probably has to do with some sort of like divination or metaphysical study. And the oracle card that you have is the Goblin, the wounded human ego. Oh, how interesting. And so we're going to take a look at what that really means in one. Okay, this is very interesting. I'm just going to read this because I don't want to miss anything for you. When the goblin appears on your path, your plans are or are about to go awry. The goblin wants to lead you astray and whispers the negative spell of fear, anger, resentment, self-righteousness, arrogance, selfishness, greed, gluttony, procrastination, and addiction. When the goblin appears, it's time to stop what you're doing and check your motives. Are you coming from an ego-centered place? Are the circumstances in your life triggering unresolved past issues that still need healing? Now is the time for self-evaluation and taking inventory before you take another step. The goblin represents the wounded ego and its influence. Dark, repressed areas of the psyche get triggered, and either in you or warning you of a dynamic between you and someone else. Do nothing, stay still, send loving energies to yourself and others, and remember, the divine connection is in all things. The goblin will disappear and lose power when you focus on love and fairness. Wow, that's really interesting. So So I guess you really have to focus on really, really positive things. And you want to see this Ten of Swords not as the ending of something horrible because you're horrible, but as possibly, like we said, the vaccine is the most positive interpretation of this card, but the ending of something that you wanted to end anyway. And once that ends, make sure that you, well, and all the time, even up until the moment that it does end, make sure that you are seeing love and positivity in everybody and spreading that around. That's the reading. I hope you found it useful. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. A thumbs up always helps too. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this reading. As always, don't forget to hit that notification bell. We've got a lot of great content coming up that I'm sure you're not going to want to miss. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. So the cards that came up for you, Aquarius, is Grand Cross Provoker, which I'm going to put right on top of that Ten of Swords. Scorpio, I transform, and Sagittarius, I see. And then we're going to roll the dice. And we're going to take a card. Very good. All right. So let's talk about this issue that's going on, Aquarius. So you too are starting a journey. You've got the Fool here, and then you've got the Moon reversed, and then we have Sagittarius coming up, I see. Sagittarius falls for you in your 11th house. And so for you, this would be a trip with friends, an outing with a group, participating in a group in general. The dice that came out were Mercury, 4, and Virgo. Got a lot of Virgo for the air signs. I guess there's some emphasis there in really taking a look at the details of things. The Grand Cross Provoker. Grand Cross is when we have planets that are in opposition, and then those opposing planets also have planets that are in opposition but are 90 degrees away. And so you end up with this literal cross when you connect the lines of the planets. It's also called a full square, a grand square. So a grand square, grand cross, the provoker. What it means is that in your life, you are going, and when that happens, there is going to be extreme tension to the point where you are forced into action. Squares in our chart, in our natal chart, are where we personally create tension in order to learn, in order to progress, in order to grow. In relationships, when you have planets that are square to another person's, that's also how you grow, but very often it results in arguments and conflict. When you have a grand cross, or when you have just a square that comes along from the current planets to your natal chart, that's where you have events that you have to face. You can't avoid them. So the Grand Cross is the provoker. The Grand Cross is the event that is being caused so that you have to take action on a particular area. So let's take a look at this. So we have Virgo, which is your not sixth house. Virgo, which is your 8th house. And then we have 4, which would be Taurus. And then we have Mercury, which who knows where Mercury is going to be, Gemini or Virgo. So again, we have the Virgo emphasis. So 4 and 8. So something having to do with your family home or the home that you live in or your actual family, and something to do with the 8th house, which has to do with other people's money, usually your spouse's money. So there are going to be some issues coming up having to do with other people's money, having to do with your home, having to do with your spouse, and you're going to have to deal with it. And the way that you deal with it is going to be through the 8th house, because the next card that you got astrologically was the Scorpio I transform. And Scorpio is your 10th house, but Scorpio rules the 8th house, is ruled by Pluto, and this is where you're going to transform. So this card is really showing us that you have to endure some difficulties. Now, swords don't have to be physical swords. They really represent communications, words, thoughts, ideas, that kind of thing. So I'm not saying that you're going to be stabbed, but I am saying that something is going to come to an end and needs to come to an end, and it can be your choice or not. Now, Scorpio would rather have it be their choice. The Grand Cross that is coming in as a card into your world for this period of time says that it's not necessarily your choice, but you can use this energy to learn the lesson and to end the thing the way you want it to end so that you can go on to the new project. Now, what about this guy? This guy is reversed. So this is a Leo energy, but he is falling between the Ten of Swords and the Ace of Swords. So I'm thinking that this guy is the conduit. So if you know a fire sign person who can help you with these matters, make sure you can trust him and talk to him about this. This is all about talking and communication, right? It could be about the vaccine. It really could. But I think in your reading, Aquarius, I think we're on to more esoteric matters. And that's the way it's coming out for me regarding this. So this could be, you know what? If you have a roommate, this could be somebody who lives with you because the fourth house is involved, which is your actual domicile. He could be a Virgo. We have so much emphasis on Mercury and Virgo. He's coming up as Leo, but it's reverse Leo. Leo, Virgo are signs right next to each other. So you could have somebody in your life who is a Leo with Virgo rising, or a Leo with a Virgo moon, or vice versa, a Virgo with a Leo moon, something like that. So that person is the one who can really help you ease out of this scenario. Let's look at your Oracle card. The Oracle card, oh, this is a really good one for you, Aquarius, is the Merlin. Alchemy, justice, and balance. Look at that. I love that. I did not think that yours was the issue of the vaccine. The Merlin is the messenger of initiation and alchemy, and is both the magician and the high priest. He is the masculine keeper of magic and has the ability to turn iron ore into gold. The Merlin says, you have all you need to move forward. Rejoice that all the elements you require for success are indeed present. You are given notice that when it comes to your life and its purpose, the magical aspect of the Merlin can be summoned to help you find an answer that is within you. When the Merlin appears, he tells you that justice will be done in all matters of your query, but not by any forceful action. Instead, ask yourself what you need to do to bring balance into your life. Are you working too hard, perhaps overthinking things? Do you have enough downtime? The answers you seek are not found in obvious places. It's time to go within through meditation and prayer and ask the spirit world of the Merlin's magical influence to send you signs and omens to help you chart your course. The Merlin says that he will lend you his wisdom and magic on this leg of your journey until you can claim it as his own. His message is always, be in the world, but not of it, and wear it only as a loose cloak about your shoulders. You will never have to look outside yourself for answers when the Merlin appears. Remember, all signs and omens sent by the Merlin are but reflections of that which is in you already. Very cool, Aquarius. Okay, that's the reading. I hope you found it useful. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. A thumbs up always helps too. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this reading. As always, don't forget to hit that notification bell. We've got a lot of great content coming up that I'm sure you're not going to want to miss. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Okay, Libra, this is your mid-month March reading through mid-April. We're going to pull 3 astrology cards for you right now. Ooh, South Node, Life's Debts. Virgo, I Analyze. Heart of Fortune, Increase. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And let's throw the dice here. All right. Neptune, Capricorn, and 2, which is for the second house. Okay, so let's talk Libra. Let's talk about the South Node. So the South Node, Life's Debts, this is where well, if you don't know what the nodes are, then please come and take my astrology class or get a natal chart reading or something so that I can really explain it to you in detail. But it is a calculated point in the sky that has to do with the crossing of the orbits between the moon and the earth around, well, the moon around the earth and the earth around the sun. And when the orbits cross in a certain way, that point is called a node. And then when it crosses another way, it's the north node. So there's the north node and the south node. And where those points fall in your natal chart indicate possibly things that you have brought forward from another lifetime, from other past lives, and where you need to go or want to go or must go in this lifetime. So the south node is where you've been in other lifetimes and the talents and skills that you bring from your past lives into this life. So it's where you feel comfortable, but where you will ultimately sort of drown. So if you just stay huddled up in your comfortable south node, you won't progress the way you need to in this lifetime in order to progress spiritually. I don't know where everybody's south node is that's listening to this video, but this is basically saying if you sit on your laurels, if you sit with what's just totally, totally comfortable and you never get out and stretch your talents and stretch your intellect to do something bigger, you will basically fail in life. So what this card is saying for this month is that this is a time for reaching out, which is also what the Fool indicates too. The Fool wants to go on a new journey. The Fool wants to explore horizons that are new. It wants to go on and do fun things it's never done before, things that might be a little risky and exciting. And that's why Aries, ruled by fire, are thought to be, very impulsive and almost childlike because they just want to do what they want to do. But that energy usually will take an Aries out of that south node energy and move them towards their north node energy, which is where they have potential and where if they explore that potential, they live a much fuller, more fulfilling life, and they usually progress spiritually as well. Like I said, I don't know where everybody's south node is, so it's impossible for me to say, oh, this is what, you should, whoops, I moved that off of Virgo. Where's Virgo? This is where you should go. Was it Virgo or was it Capricorn? It was Capricorn, sorry. Then we do have the card for Virgo, I analyze, which for Libra, that would be your 12th house. And again, I don't think that your south node is going to be in your 12th house. It's impossible for me to say where everybody's south node is. Because everybody's going to be different. But Virgo and the 12th house would be looking at your subconscious, which would be looking at things that are coming up from this moon card. So in this instance, it would not be other people trying to trick you or whatever. It would be the hidden things in your subconscious that you need to bring forward in order to probably to get through the south node life debts and look more at the north node, your promise and your fulfillment of your potential. Then we have the part of fortune increase, which is the part of fortune is another mathematical point that is calculated between your rising sign, your sun, and your moon. It's an Arabic part. There's many Arabic parts. I think I don't think there's 360, but there might be. But there's a whole bunch of different points that the Arabs calculated, and they all meant something. Sort of like stars, in your chart also mean something. But the part of fortune is just a circle with a cross on it, and it means luck. It means where you are inherently lucky in your life. Again, I don't know where everybody's part of fortune is in life, but the fact that it came up in your card, along with your south node debts, means that you're about to get lucky, that you're about to be able to walk away from some of your south node junk and move into a very good chapter of your life. So that's really, really interesting. So this Ace of Swords that has you beginning things, and it's kind of on an intellectual basis, is joining up with this, is kind of going along with this part of fortune increase and telling me that this new project is going to be very advantageous, lucky, profitable for you, and is going to take you out of the South Node life debts kind of thing where you're just being drained and of energy and sucked under by things that you did in past lives that you don't need to repeat in this life. Let's look at the Oracle card. Oh, two of them want to come and I don't want to take two. I'll take the underneath one. The Spider, creative projects. Oh, good. That goes along with the Ace of Swords. So creative projects that's good. That's what you really want to start. Let's take a look what it says in the guidebook for creative projects. Spider is number 15. The Spider reminds you that you have within you the gift to create meaningful, purposeful work. Within you is an artist waiting to be expressed. Think about this. Do you write in a journal each day? Do you draw, paint, cook, or play music? Do you realize that everything you do on a daily basis is an act of co-creation with the divine? Yeah, honestly, I do, but do you? The Spider signals that it's time to be aware of your responsibility for the creations in your life. Oh, responsibility. Another form of debt, responsibility. Maybe you need to rethink an issue and apply your inner artist to find a solution. If you're unhappy with anything, ask yourself, how can I create a better, more productive and loving experience for myself and others? Whether you see yourself as an artist or not, you're always co-creating with the divine. You are the architect of your own happiness and fulfillment. What life are you building? Don't just sit there. This is your time to create. So very good. So the Virgo part of this reading is that you will take the time to get to all the details in this. And that's what's going to really pull you up out of your South Node nest. And also that's why you got this card. If you resist pulling yourself out of that South Node comfort zone, which is ultimately going to drain you, you will end up feeling like this. But with the South Node not being an issue and with you moving forward towards new horizons, new projects, stretching your talents, stretching your limits, stretching your beliefs, stretching your abilities, you will end up feeling much better about all the changes. And then when this does end, you don't feel like you are a failure because it ended, but that you wanted it to end so that you would be ready and have the time and attention to move on to the next project. So very, very interesting reading for Libra. That's the reading. I hope you found it useful. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. A thumbs up always helps too. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this reading. As always, don't forget to hit that notification bell. We've got a lot of great content coming up that I'm sure you're not going to want to miss. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.